You've been told your feelings matter most, that every wave of emotion is a message from your soul, that to be a complete man, you must process, perform, and prioritize your feelings. That's the gospel of the modern age. Feel, emote, share. But Immanuel Kant would call it slavery. You don't become a man by obeying the chaos inside you. You don't master your life by letting feelings steer the ship. Kant watched men lose themselves to passion, to mood, to every passing urge. He saw it for what it was, a surrender, not to others, but to the tyranny of their own impulses. The world loves this chaos. Emotional men are easy to sell to, easy to manipulate, easy to predict. When you are a slave to feeling, you're predictable. You're easy to move, to bait, to break. You think you're authentic. You think you're free. But all you've done is chain yourself to something even weaker than the world outside. Your own ever-changing inner weather. Kant didn't say feelings are evil. He said they're primitive. They are the tools of children and slaves, those without command, without discipline, without sovereignty. To be ruled by feeling is to accept a kind of internal servitude, a lifetime sentence in the dungeon of your own whims. And this is where modern men collapse. They think stoicism is apathy. They think self-command is suppression. They think reason is cold, inhuman, unloving. So they worship at the altar of emotion and wonder why their lives spiral, why nothing is stable, why their own self-respect evaporates with every new mood swing. Look at your own life. When has feeling ever given you a code to live by? When has it set you straight when you were lost, or helped you build when you were weak? Emotion is a flash fire, hot, bright, and gone. Reason is the steel that remains when everything else burns away. You don't build anything lasting on chaos. You build it on order. You build it on rules that hold, on discipline that survives even when you don't feel like it. Kant said, act only according to that maxim whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. That's not poetry. That's architecture. Stop believing the lie that your feelings are sacred. They are raw material, nothing more. Your real job as a man is to master them, channel them, and let them fuel the engine of reason. Not to bow to them, not to build your life on their shifting sand. Kant knew the world doesn't need more men expressing their feelings. It needs more men who can command them, who can use reason as a sword, not a leash. Feelings are for slaves. Reason is for men. You want to know why so many men are anxious, unsteady, angry at nothing, stuck in lives they didn't choose? Because you've been taught that your emotions are not just valid, but holy, that they must be shared, indulged, dissected, and, worst of all, obeyed. You think you're being honest when you spill every feeling, but Kant would say you're being conquered. You have mistaken slavery for authenticity. Emotion is the perfect cage because you built it yourself. It's always with you. You can't blame anyone else when you're the one putting the shackles on. And that's why the world wants you emotional. The man ruled by feeling is never a threat to anything. He's never a builder, never a creator, never a leader. He's always waiting for his mood to shift before he acts. He's always looking for someone or something to validate how he feels before he does what he knows is right. You live in a culture that has made a god of vulnerability, that worships emotional chaos. But look closer. Are the men who confess their feelings at every turn any stronger for it? Do they build better lives, lead with more power, stand up when things go wrong? Or do they crumble? Do they look for sympathy instead of solutions? Do they get swept up in the drama and lose themselves in endless storms of reaction? Kant saw this centuries ago. He saw that a man who lets himself be governed by his passions, his impulses, his wounds, is forever a child. He will never command himself. He'll be commanded by whatever feeling rages loudest. Today it's anger, tomorrow it's lust. The next day it's guilt, then envy, then despair. And so your life becomes a sequence of mood swings, not a story with meaning. You've tried to fix your life by processing your emotions, but feeling isn't fixing. Indulging your chaos doesn't give you control. It deepens your confusion. Your job isn't to fight your feelings, but to rise above them. To see them as data, not orders. As the raw heat that forges discipline, not the wind that steers your ship. Every time you let a feeling decide for you, you abandon your throne and take up the yoke. You surrender your ability to lead, to build, to choose, to say, no, not today. Reason is not a denial of your humanity. It is the proof of your power. Kant taught that the truly free man is the man of reason, because only reason can make laws for itself. Only reason can create order where there was none. You weren't put here to be moved by every gust of emotion. You were put here to build something stable, something worthy, something that lasts long after the feeling fades. That is the work of reason. That is the mark of a man. Break the cage. Stop calling your weakness a virtue. Emotion is the leash. Reason is the sword. You think you're living your life, making your choices, shaping your destiny. But step back. Look honestly at the last 10 decisions you made. Were they products of your reason or reactions to a feeling? Did you move with clarity, or did you just flinch from discomfort, chase validation, avoid conflict? The truth is brutal. When you obey feeling, you surrender authorship. You become a puppet, and the strings are always in someone else's hands. That's how the game is played now. You're told to listen to your feelings, but nobody tells you your feelings are usually the echo of the world around you. Her moods, the crowd's outrage, the panic on the news, the inspiration in your feed, all of it writes the emotional weather in your body. You obey, thinking it's you, but you're just an actor, improvising lines in a play you never wrote. Kant called this heteronomy, being ruled by something outside yourself. And what better tool for domination than emotion? You can't even see the strings. You react to your partner's disappointment, so you fold. You react to your boss's scowl, so you shrink. You react to society's shaming, so you silence your own logic and nod along with the crowd. You tell yourself you're being present, but you're just being steered. And here's the quiet tragedy. The more you obey feeling, the less you trust yourself. Every time you cave to an impulse, or bend to keep someone else comfortable, or collapse under the weight of your own drama, you erode your own authority. It starts with small things: apologizing for your truth, softening your boundaries, holding back what you know is right. Over time, it becomes your whole identity. The man who adapts, who serves, who orbits the emotional center of everyone else's life but never finds his own. Look around. Is this the man you admire? The one who can't say no? The one who needs a mood check before every decision? The one who waits to act until the room gives permission? This isn't masculinity. This is emotional servitude. Kant's man is different. He listens to feeling, but he doesn't kneel to it. He consults his mind before his mood. He writes his own script, hard lines, clear boundaries, an unshakable code. He is not moved by every storm because he is anchored by reason. You wonder why your life feels random, why you're restless, exhausted, pulled in every direction. It's because you're not living by your own light. You're a mirror for other people's storms, not a fire that lights your own path. Stop reacting, start writing. Begin each day with your own question. What does reason demand of me? Not comfort, not compliance, Not the chase for temporary relief, but clarity, order, self-respect. Feelings will come and go, but the man who lives by reason builds something immortal, a life that is truly his own. You've spent too long circling other people's gravity. You adapt your tone, your plans, your principles to fit the mood of the moment, hoping to keep the peace, to stay liked, to be needed. But that's not leadership. That's drift. Kant understood what you forgot. A man of reason is not a satellite, endlessly orbiting someone else's chaos. He is the center, the anchor, the lawgiver. The moment you obey reason, you step into that gravity. You become the one others orient themselves around. Look at your life. Every time you moved from feeling, you drifted. Sometimes you ended up where you wanted, but it was by accident, not design. You trusted passion, so you chased women who played with your emotions, jobs that flattered your ego, friends who needed you weak so they could feel strong. You were tossed around by storms that weren't even yours. But the men you respect, the ones whose presence calms a room, whose word ends debate, whose standards never flicker with the wind, they all share one trait. They are ruled by reason. Not ice cold, not unfeeling, but steady. They don't deny emotion, they command it. They don't hide from storms. They stand so still, the storm breaks against them. Kant's man becomes the unmoved mover. He builds his life around maxims. Rules he chooses, values he shapes, lines he does not cross. He does not wait for mood to strike or for permission to act. He leads himself, and others follow, because gravity always attracts. The world is chaos. Your job is order. The world is noise. Your job is law. Stop waiting for feelings to pass. Stop treating life like a weather report. Start choosing, building, acting, not from the swirl of impulse, but from the foundation of principle. Ask yourself, what do I stand for when no one's watching? What rules would I follow if the world went dark tomorrow and no one was left to judge me but myself? That's the center. That's how you reclaim your orbit. The men who walk by reason set the standard. At work, at home, in love. Others sense it. Your woman feels it when you hold your ground instead of dissolving in apology. Your friends sense it when you don't break just to keep the group happy. Your enemies feel it when you don't flinch at the first sign of conflict. Reason is not just survival. It is the source of your authority. It is the silent challenge you issue every morning. Let the world rage. I will not. The more you choose reason, the more the emotional chaos around you becomes powerless. That's the law of gravity. The world doesn't need more men chasing feelings. It needs men who are so anchored in reason that everything unstable finds stability around them. Become the center. Write your own laws. Lead with your mind, not your moods. You think reason is cold, that it kills passion and suffocates love. You're told a real man wears his heart on his sleeve, that he feels deeply, that he risks everything for emotion. But look at the men who have done that. Where are they now? Lost in regret, burned by chaos, left holding the ashes of dreams set on fire by moods and whims. Kant saw it clearly. The man who builds his world on feeling is always rebuilding, always repairing the damage left by storms he invited. But the man of reason, he doesn't feel less. He feels cleanly, purely, without drowning. He can love without losing himself, create without chasing trends, endure without collapsing under pressure. Love is not about sacrificing your code. It's not about dissolving into someone else's mood swings. Reason gives you the backbone to love fiercely and faithfully, because you choose it, not because you're a slave to infatuation or manipulation. When you govern yourself with reason, you don't lose yourself in love. You offer something solid, dependable, worthy of respect. You become the calm in her storm, not another branch swept away by the flood. Creation, too, demands discipline. It's not a random outpouring of inspiration. It's vision brought to life by hard work, by rules, by showing up whether you feel like it or not. The emotional man paints when he's moved and calls it art. The rational man builds, refines, perfects. His work endures because it's built on order, not on a passing thrill. That's why the legacy of disciplined men survives centuries, because it wasn't built on feeling, but on form. Endurance is the final test. Life is suffering, as every philosopher knows. Moods will fail you. Motivation will abandon you. The only thing that carries you through the fire is reason. Your inner law that says, I keep going, no matter what. The man who relies on feeling breaks as soon as it hurts. The man of reason stands when his own body begs for mercy. He is not a slave to pain, fatigue, or despair. He is a master because he chooses his response, not because he's unfeeling, but because he's unbreakable. Kant's vision of masculine power was not about being stone, but about being steel. Flexible, enduring, sharp. He wanted men to taste love, to make beauty, to withstand tragedy, but to do it as masters, not martyrs. You do not exist to be tossed by every feeling, to be shaped by someone else's storm. You exist to build, to lead, to endure. The man who chooses reason above emotion is not less human. He is finally, dangerously, alive. You want a life that matters? Stop chasing every emotional high and low. Build on reason. Love by choice. Create with discipline. Endure with honor. That's the masculine power the world no longer understands and desperately needs. This is the moment you decide what kind of man you are. Not a man ruled by tides of mood, not a pawn in someone else's emotional game, not another ghost drifting through life on autopilot. If you've made it here, you know the difference now. You're standing at the crossroads. One path is paved with excuses and chaos, the other with discipline, order, and unbreakable code. Kant would tell you, the world isn't waiting for another man to share his feelings. The world is starving for a man who commands himself, who becomes the unmoved mover, the lawgiver, the source of gravity others can't ignore. That's not arrogance, that's necessity. In a culture obsessed with emotional spectacle, you become a threat simply by being calm, rational, and unyielding. Look at what happens when you stop reacting and start choosing. People notice. They test your boundaries, try to shake your calm, bait you into drama. When you don't flinch, when you don't fold, when you refuse to surrender to anyone's storm, not even your own, you become dangerous in the best sense of the word. This is not about killing your emotions. It's about mastering them. You respect the data they give, but you don't let them steer the ship. Reason is your captain. Principle is your compass. That's how you write your own fate, instead of reciting the scripts the world hands you. So here is your charge. Refuse to be a slave to feeling. Make reason your law, your habit, your shield. Let others chase comfort. You chase clarity. Let others perform chaos. You build calm. You don't run from pain, and you don't beg for pleasure. You stand in the storm and choose your direction every single time. If you felt this, if it's burned away a layer of self-deception, don't just disappear back into numbness. Speak up. Drop a comment below and declare your code. Subscribe for more of what cuts through the noise. Share this message with men who need to hear it. Brothers who are tired of being ruled by moods, who are ready to build something unshakable. Because men who rule themselves by reason don't just survive, they change the world. And it starts now with you.